Today I'm going to show you how AutoCrat works with a Google form and Google Sheets. So let's get started. Now with the AutoCrat, this is what's going to be your final project or your final resource. I'm going to show you student information because that's what I need this video for. So with the student information, I'm going to gather all of my information in a Google form, and then it's going to populate into this pretty little doc. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is create a Google form or buy one or, whatever. So this one for me, it's my parent information form. And I've got my child's first name, last name, birthday, home phone number, mom's first and last name, mom's cell number. I'm going to have all of the information that I'm going to need for each of my students. And so once I have my Google form created, I'm going to go to responses, and then I'm going to create a Google Sheet with that Google form. And so you're just going to click on that green little plus sign. And I already have mine created, but if you don't, it's just going to say, do you want to create a sheet? And you're going to say yes. All right, and so now that I have it created, I'm going to show you what the Google Doc looks like so that I can tie everything together and make it to where it'll grab the information from my spreadsheet. So this is the Google Doc, and up at the top I have student information, and then in my carrots, which are these little things right here, I don't know if that's actually what they're called, but that's what we call them. I've got 2 carrots, and then I've got child's name, and then I've got closed carrots, 2. And so child's first name is actually what I grab from my spreadsheet. So my first column is called as child's first name. And so I want that on my Google Doc. So that's going to be my first thing that's going to be within those carrots. Child's first name. And as you can see, I have child's last name, and that's the next column. They don't have to be in order. I'm just showing you. And so then I've got mom's name. So within the carrots, outside of the carrots, I have what I want it to show on the Google Doc. As you can see, mom's name here, and then mom's name is Shannon Juno, and if I go back over here, I'm grabbing mom's first and last name from my spreadsheet here. Does that make sense? And so then when I go back over here, that's going to be what's inside of my carrot. Same as cell phone number. So I want this row to say cell phone number, but then I want it to grab mom's cell phone number from my spreadsheet. The closer that you make these the same as your cells, it's going to make AutoCrat a little bit easier down the road. Okay, so you're going to create your Google Doc however you want it. You can make it as pretty as you want or as plain as you want. You can also use Google Slides, and if you use Google Slides, you can do like little backgrounds and that kind of stuff, so keep that in mind as well. Okay, and so now I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet. I'm going to go to add-ons. I'm going to go to AutoCrat. If you've never done AutoCrat before, you might have to open it, accept it, or whatever. So I'm going to open. Although mine would probably say launch if I hadn't done anything with this spreadsheet before. Okay, and so I'm going to go in, I'm going to trash that one so that we can start all over again. Okay, and this is what you're going to see. So you're going to click New Job. And then job name, I'm going to do parent information. And then I'm going to click next. And now it's saying, okay, I need you to choose a template. Well, what they're talking about is this. This is my template. So I need to go and find that. And that's in my Google Drive. So I'm going to do from Drive. And because I just recently created it, it should populate as one of the first items. There it is. And then I'm going to give it a second so that it populates. And there it is. And then I'm going to click next. And so that now the next thing I have to do is map these templates. So this one says child's first name. So then I have to go over to where it says map to column. And all that's saying is you're grabbing from your spreadsheet column and from here. So I want it to be child's first name, child's last name, mom's first and last name. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to find mom's first and last name. And then I'm going to keep on going. Now, if you can, as you see, this one was already there. And so sometimes you'll see that as well. And that's just because if you look at this one, I have an apostrophe and it doesn't like apostrophes. Whereas this one, I have nothing in there except home phone number, and it's exactly the same home phone number, and that's why it found that one. As you can see, it picked up emergency phone number. Okay, so now that I have them all done, I'm going to click Next. Now, file settings. So if you were doing a walkthrough, because we do those as well, then you're actually going to want this file name to be very specific. So like if it were walkthroughs for teachers, then you would actually go over here and you would click teacher name. Well, this one doesn't matter because I'm just doing this one time. And so I can really just do timestamp, and then I'm going to do Control V. And so now it's going to tell me in that Google Doc, the name of that Google Doc is going to be that timestamp. You have two choices. You can do a Google Doc or you can do a PDF. I'm doing parent information forms, and so really I want it to be a Google Doc so that if a parent sends me a little sticky note and says, hey, so-and-so's phone number has changed, I can just go in and change that phone number right in that Google Doc. I'm just going to do, for this one, multiple output modes means that every time someone submits, it's going to make a different Google Doc. Well, I don't really want that for this, for parent information forms. I'm just going to do a single output mode. And then, yes, I want page breaks. Then I'm going to click Next. And then it says Choose Destination Folder. So if I go back where my folder is, let's see. How to use Autocrat. Okay, I'm going to have everything in one folder, but I'm also, if I were having a lot of different Google Docs going into the folder, I would actually want to create a whole different folder and say this is where I want those items to go. But I'm only creating one doc with all of my students' information. So really and truly, it can go into this How to Use Autocrat folder. Then I'm going to click Next. Number 6, Add Dynamic Folder. That's not going to come into play for this. I'm not setting any merge conditions. I'm not sharing these docs. And for this one, I don't really want it to run on form trigger. What run on form trigger means is that as soon as a parent fills out the Google form, it would populate a Google Doc. Well, I don't really want it to do that because I want to get all of my students on this spreadsheet, and then I'm just going to run one Google Doc so that I can print them all at one time or have them all in just one Google Doc. So I'm not going to do run on form trigger, and I'm not going to do run on time trigger. And I'm going to do save. But just to say, the run on form trigger, if you're a teacher and your admin uses this, as soon as they do a walkthrough, if you get an email saying all the wonderful things you've done, they've used Autocrat and they've done run on form trigger. So as soon as they click submit, that Google Doc or PDF goes straight to you, just to kind of explain. Okay, so now I'm going to run. I've already filled out my form one time just so you can see. And then now if I go over here, it has done that student's information that I just did, 10/12, and then it tells me the timestamp. So if I open that, it's Courtney's information. Of course, this was just blah, blah, blah. And as you can see, it does everything I needed it to do with Courtney. And so if I did 24 students, I wait until all 24 parents have filled it out. And then I just do Autocrat one time, and then it's going to do one of these for each student. I hope that helped. And I'll see you in the next video.